Hey everybody, welcome back. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to today's Weather Tonight with Cloud Hudson. I'm your host, as always, Cloud Hudson. And I've got a little update for you. Not quite as boring as yesterday. Not boring, but not quite as quiet as yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and light some incense just to set the mood because it is our current actually, I might go in reverse order today. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go from the planets outward because I want to acknowledge that we are on a Mercury day and a moon hour. So, being Mercury and moon, I want to do something a little ritualistic lighting of the incense. One of my favorite YouTube channels is a ASMR channel that does. It doesn't sound so good. I love that sound. Let me know in the comments if y'all would like to see me do some ASMR because I've thought about that. I've seriously considered doing some ASMR as a video type. I might throw in a little extra. I might try it out with shorts actually. So crinkly. Sounds so good. Okay. All right. Just gonna light a little bit of incense here. I've got my nice 10-year-old butane lighter. It's not a fire hazard. The only hazard is not having fire. Doesn't that sound so nice? Yeah. This is the Ayurvedic water Ayurveda incense cone. I think is it a backflow? It's not a backflow cone. Where's my little? Where's my? Oh, there we go. My vintage coffee pot / incense holder. Just take this, nestle it right into my black salt. Those of you out here who know what it is, I'm making my own black salt over. It's been since about 2018 that I've been working with this particular batch of salt in here. So I think it's been most of the Uranus and Taurus transit that I've been working with this salt. So it's a pretty good, well-worked bit of black salt. All right. So let's go ahead and start with today's astro weather. It is the first quarter moon phase right now. We're in the first quarter phase of the moon. That means that the moon is currently squaring the sun. The moon here at the 27th degree of Aries is squaring the sun at the 27th degree of Capricorn, almost exactly. It just happened. And you know what's kind of interesting? That transit went exact just a bit ago. Let's see what the exact time of the transit was, because there was just a C-class X-ray blast from the sun. So let's see. Okay. Oh, don't tell me there are no such aspects. Yes, today, or no. Sun square moon. Excuse me, there's no way there is no exact for sun square moon. So, oh, that's why it wouldn't be showing, because it doesn't want to show me aspects to moon. Anyway, I believe that this transit went exact, like maybe earlier this evening. Monthly moon aspects. There we go. Moon aspects today. Squared sun at exactly 3:52 p.m. and that is in UT GMT. 3:52. And let's look at solar flares. Was there anything happening today at 3:52? Oh no, that was right. Actually, yeah, right at, oh, that's the 18th. Let's look at the 17th, 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock on the 17th. We saw a slight increase in activity, but remember that yesterday we were like almost completely dead on the sun. So it went exactly square. The moon and the sun went exactly square, and we saw a slight uptick in activity. Really, I was wondering what happened in UTC time Thursday the 18th. What happened at exactly 4 UTC, because that is when we saw this C5.4 solar flare go after a period of unusually quiet solar flare activity. Still didn't see too many solar. I think there were only 6 or 7 coronal mass ejections today, which again, at solar maximum, that's not a lot, but at a different phase in the 11-year solar cycle, that is so many. So it's quiet for the peak of the solar cycle. And there's a bit of a discussion in the space weather community about whether we're on track to remain at solar maximum still happening next year in 2025, or what some experts are saying is that we're already at solar maximum in 2024. But I guess we'll just have to see how that plays out. Let's go back to just looking at today's circle chart, though. We see Mercury is moving into an exact sextile with Saturn, and Saturn still got that 2-degree orb sextile with Jupiter, Jupiter being trine Mercury right now. And all 3 of those planets are very important for terrestrial weather. I've still not quite got my research done on what they do, but I intuitively know that there is a connection. And I'm finding in my old texts that I'm reading about the history of both meteorology and astrology, I'm finding that Jupiter and Mercury are some pretty important planets for setting off electromagnetic disruptions in the Earth's magnetosphere. So at this point, I am not saying anything is correlated or causated or even coincidental. I'm just saying it's interesting to note where these planets are while stuff is happening. I'm going to be really curious to see if the Iceland eruption reignites once the moon moves into Taurus and joins Jupiter and Uranus there, because that would, I have a feeling that would probably trigger some things. And of course, we're still waiting for the sun to finish up its time in Capricorn, and it will finish its time in Capricorn by conjuncting or conjoining Pluto, and then both of them will move into Aquarius at about the same time. Really, the sun will move in right before Pluto. So the sun is coming in and saying, yes, Pluto, we're done. Let's go back to Aquarius now. We're done with the Pluto and Capricorn stuff. And let's see. Anything else significant I wanted to talk about? There's still that square between let's see, who is squaring right now? What do they have as a square aspect? Oh, the sun and moon. Duh. That's what I started talking about. I started talking about we're still at sun and moon square. I wouldn't consider these conjoined anymore, but they're within 6 degrees, so maybe they are. Let's take a look now at space weather going down through the atmosphere. We didn't have, let's take a look at our auroral activity. I'm not expecting a whole lot because our KP index has been really low recently. Yeah, almost nothing. Even the solar wind is down a whole lot. Solar wind down a whole lot. Oh, interesting. Okay, so right around the time, remember 4 o'clock UTC is when we saw that C-class flare. Looks like maybe the plasma, it says plasma density and solar wind decreased significantly at that point. So that's curious. Um, but the interplanetary magnetic field is up. Interesting. Interesting. So we're seeing a little bit slower space weather. Let's take a look at the WSA and Enlil models for plasma density and solar wind speed. Um, okay, they've modeled one of these launches that's just going off into nowhere land. Uh, remember that they had modeled one that would be going here, but I guess we're not showing that anymore. I don't know why uh, I don't know why this one hasn't been wanting to march itself forward. But let's take a look. It looks like they've got things picking the plasma density picking up towards the end of this. All right, these are for the 15th, March through today. Okay. So increasing plasma density just a little bit, and that's normal from these bands that are coming off of the sun are called Parker spirals. And they're like areas that rotate with the sun, and it's flung off from the sun, co-rotating interaction regions. Let's see. Yeah. So expected a little bit of plasma density increase today, and I think no, that's on the 19th, tomorrow. Today through tomorrow, we're going to be seeing slight increase in plasma density, but a slowdown in the wind. So maybe it'll charge up the radiation belts again. The radiation belts around the Earth have been decharged a little bit recently. Let's take a look at the SDO, Solar Dynamics Observatory. This is just what the HMI intensity gram is, what you would see if you look through a good telescope. The magnetogram is showing again where the magnetic poles of each sunspot are. It's kind of fun to watch that play out if I can load it. Yeah. They're just sizzling on the surface. This is more like looking at the hurricane as a whole thing. Rotating through, not really changing a whole lot. Let's take a look at, I like to look at the 193 angstrom version. Let's see. Oh, pretty sun. Very pretty. Sparkly. You can see it sparkling off. Oh, I see a little bit of activity here. I'm expecting something out of that. Yeah. That looks like it's heating up and twistifying. It's twistifying. This also looks like, you know how I said that I think the magnetic ropes look like they're twiddling their thumbs, or like doing that super villain. Yes. Looks like they're doing that thing. And that usually precedes a mass ejection or a filament launch of some sort. You can see the little tiny solar tornadoes. Let's look at it in motion just another time. Everybody pick out a different spot to look at. Yeah. There's some arcing, some sparking. Oh, there's one. That was one of our mint few. And remember, when we've got these dark regions, these are coronal holes. That is what produces fast solar wind. So the lighter regions will launch the mass, and the darker regions will push with the solar wind. So let's, on the topic of wind, go to our weather, our terrestrial atmospheric weather. Here we are looking at the 2 potential vorticity units pressure. So this is the level of the atmosphere at which 2 PVU is reached, and they've got a good color gradient. SPC, take note. Get on your shit. Make it prettier. Let's look. I gotta click on this first. All right, let's just march through these. I like looking at this map because you can see the fluid dynamics of the atmosphere a lot better. And remember, this is the winter in the northern hemisphere. This is the time when our northern polar vortex kind of creeps down into the rest of the world. So our polar vortex is real loose, not tight butthole, very loose butthole. the polar vortex is real loose butthole right now. Not cool, dude. So you can see it just farting some cold air down all the way into Mexico and Texas. Like, look at that. That is that Arctic air blast. And it's not expected to, well, it is expected to let up slightly. The West Coast is warming up just a little bit right now. I'm going back and forth and back and forth. This is forward again. We can see really dipping down there and trying to scoop up a lot of moisture into the, it's less bringing cold air down and more bringing warmth up. But I don't like to see it spiral down and scoop, because that creates a lot of energy. Let's look at the analysis of temperatures, the actual temperatures that we saw, because we have seen a real successful cool down of the lower 48 here. Look at that. I mean, I've been talking for weeks about complaining about how this polar air won't make it over the mountains, and it looks like it's finally doing it. Remember, I talked about thermal mass. It takes a lot more goes for it takes a lot more sweeps of cold air to freeze the ground in places where there's more contact with the atmosphere, between the earth and the atmosphere. It takes a lot more time for the rock to cool off. And I think that we've had enough passes through the mountains that we are finally in winter time freezing. I know, at least where I am, the ground is now officially frozen. Like that permafrost, crunchy earth kind of stuff. But it has been just a muddy winter since then. You don't want a muddy winter. It is better for crops to get a good freeze, but I'm glad it's happening in January and not March. I am a little concerned that we're just starting to get into the single digits here. Might mean a late winter. Might mean some random cold bursts in the spring. Here's to hoping that we don't have that. But, this isn't a forecasting show. This is a review show. So I'm just looking at analysis. But I have seen that meteorologists are calling for a warm up and a change in this Arctic air pattern. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for them. I'm going to be keeping score, seeing, well, not real score, but I'm going to be seeing who's right. They are calling for a warm up soon. As you see, there is a bit of a warm up trying to happen here. This is all where we've got a lot of earthquakes happening. So let's go to the earthquakes, actually. As I'm talking about the West Coast warming up, they've got more earthquakes swarming just constantly. And remember, guys, these aren't all tremors. These are some significant 2s and 3s all over in the Yellowstone area. Remember, these are only from the past day. I always have this set for just the past 24 hours. So it might seem like, oh, those are just left over from the last forecast. No, these places in Oklahoma, Western Texas, Southern California, the all along the faults in California have been really heavily populated with just near constant ones and twos and, very insignificant looking quakes, but shallow too. Like a shallow 3. There's several of those. We had a deeper one in Seattle. That's interesting to me. A deeper 3.2 today at the same time that that is at the same time that we had the C-class flare. That's interesting. Going up, there's still been a lot of activity in Alaska in the Anchorage area, but these are the ones from yesterday that I was really curious about. This big old stack. I don't know what is out here in Noma, northern Alaska, in this peninsula. I guess it was that lady who said I could see Russia from my house. I guess she must live right here. Let's see. That was an older one. Little bit older in the Aleutian Island chain. And remember, these plate boundaries that you're seeing here. This is subsidence. So that's very active tectonically. It's where the plate is subsiding under the other one. That was a 4.5 midway down, about halfway down. And again, that shallow 5 yesterday off the Noto Peninsula of Japan. More in the Mariana Islands area, that was a 5. A 5 at 143 kilometers down. One off the coast of Taiwan. We had a 4.8 off the coast of Taiwan today. Oh, no, that's yesterday. Let's see. 5.6 in the Philippines. A shallow 5 here. It's about 30 kilometers down. One in Papua New Guinea. And more still, we still have volcanic activity in West Sumatra. So that makes sense. Remember, there's also a typhoon going on here in Australia. So that's very interesting to note that they're having some quakes north of the typhoon there. Let's see. I think we still had it. Let's load some of these. Hello. Because I know there were some in Greece and Hindu Kush region. There we go. Yeah. Afghanistan, Tajikistan border, 4.3 today. Again, that medium depth is popping up. Remember at the beginning of the year, we had all these shallow quakes. I think we're seeing a bit deeper of it. I think we're seeing some of that resonate deeper into the earth now. We've had a lot of activity in Puerto Rico as well. I haven't noted that very much, but they've been pretty active in the past, I would say, past week. Now, I remember them because I know they celebrate a holiday on January 6th. They're celebrating Epiphany, the day of the 3 wise men. I noticed that there were some 3s starting in Puerto Rico even then about 10 days ago, and they've continued to see a few 2s and 3 magnitude quakes since then. Also got another deep quake. A very recent deep quake in the Fiji Islands region. Remember that a few weeks ago I talked about how this shape of this plate is like the shape of a wave breaking. You can see like corners are actually in nature. It's just one of the many degrees that something rotates through. So don't listen to people who say that 90 degrees isn't natural. Actually, it's just as natural as any other degree. It's part of the evolution. Interesting that we had a deep or a shallow 5 here in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Wonder what that's about. I wonder what's there. Do we have a little bit of a island chain? No, there's something trying to do something out there. Remember that we've got volcanic activity happening here near the Chile-Peru border, but that's actually quieted down significantly. That is a lot less activity than we've seen in South America in the past few days. And we've got a shallow 4 off the coast of Panama. Let's go now to that volcanic activity. Still got, yeah, that was the one I was talking about. Sabancaya still active, still showing active for Sanjay, Fuego, Popocatépetl, still showing Reykjanes is erupting actively. Let's take a look at what their vertical earthquake distribution looks like. I'm very upset that I don't know why this won't load. Load image. I don't know why that won't load. But this one is our earthquakes. I guess we are seeing, see, this is where it stopped erupting. Where really, this was the eruption, and this is where we tapered off. And then this is where we had that eerily quiet. And then, but we did not see the amount of magma come out of the ground that we saw inflate the ground. So that means that there is still a lot of magma that's trying to erupt in the Grindavik area of Iceland. So let's see. Yeah. I'm expecting more of a swarm. Oh, we're seeing some surface activity. This one's really recent, saw some surface activity. Remember last week I said that I expected today, the 17th, the day of the first quarter moon, to be a day that we saw some activity. I'm still holding my breath to see if we get that. I think in the next 24 hours, we got to keep our eye on Iceland. And speaking of which, let's just go ahead and call up the Icelandic Meteorological Office, see if they've got any significant reports today. No current signs of eruption, but there is inflation in the Svartsengi area. And I've heard that there is a lot of, okay, volcanic gases. Let's see. If there were volcanic gases, that's where they'd be going. They're coming from there. I've heard that Mount Thorbjorn is been inflating. Let's see. No, I don't want to look at information about it. I want to look at. Let's see. Oh, now they're showing Bardabunga. That's a fun one to say. The volcano here, I'm pretty sure, is Bardabunga. They're showing that one as active. And they're showing Reykjanes as active instead of the one inland. I wonder if that's because off the coast we're seeing some earthquakes. What is this? 3 alerts. Considerable snowfall in these areas. So interesting. They're going to have some considerable snowfall there. I wonder what that will do for our ability to detect the volcanoes. It would be very beautiful to see snowfall over an active fissure eruption. I don't know if that would make it I don't know what effect that would have on the way that the eruption happens. It seems to me, my instinct would say that the colder the air on the surface and the faster the lava's gonna cool and solidify, and that would mean we need more pressure to break through, but that's just complete speculation. But yeah, they're looking at some considerable snowfall. So I hope that everybody's gotten out of there. I hope that the workers are safe. And I heard, I mentioned the sheep farmer was able to get his sheep out of the farmhouse where he had them. So that's good. But I've also, it's not looking like Grindavik will be habitable again. It's looking like this town is kind of just Swiss cheese underneath. It's basically like Florida. They've got a big, a very large amount of undersea or underground seawater intrusions and water intrusions and all kinds of fissures throughout the town, not just the eruptive kind, but there are actually 2 different magma dikes under and a dike. So the sill is the big pool of magma that has come up from deeper in the earth. That's the intrusion that started back in November. And that's the sill, and the dikes are where the sill has found even more way to the surface. There are now 2 different dikes according to the 2 different dikes. I mean, most dikes are all the same. That's what they always say. I think I'm the only one allowed to make that joke. I think I'm the only one qualified to make that joke. And if you're a geoscience nerd, woman-loving woman, then let's be friends. I don't know any other dikes. But the lava dikes, they are there's 2 of them. One that is associated with the eruption from the 14th, and let's look closer so I can draw them. Okay. I don't even know if I could draw them on here, but I'll try. There's one dike that is going in to the harbor straight to like that Hagafell region. And then there's another coming in from the other side, kind of making an X up near the Sundnukar crater series, north of the town. Let's delete that now. Again, not seeing much significant activity from our earthquakes there, but let's take a look at the GPS data, the inflation data, the inflation series of the Earth. Is the Earth into inflation? Oh my God, very weird. Yeah, you can see there are some places that actually have not gone down, have gone up since the last eruptions. Let's see. And some places that are inflating at an even steeper rate than before. Let's take a look. Yeah. Oh, that was too much. My Zoom is getting a little laggy. I could spend a long time just going through and locating these on the map, but like for instance, this one that went up significantly, that is the SKSH station, and that's right here. SENG is the Svartsengi power plant one. Let's see. We stand. Svartsengi. Yes. This is the one underneath the power plant. And as you see, that one, that's where you can see that I was not surprised when they said that there are two different magma dikes, because I noticed that like half of these GPS stations did not go down after the recent January 14th eruption. They actually started going up, like right here. We're seeing a significant uptick in the uplift. We've seen also, and these are the ones near the power plant in the Blue Lagoon area. But there were others that definitely did go down, but are just inflating right back up again. But then you see some of these, it's like you didn't even see an eruption in January. And that's what makes me think they're disconnected. And now I've been validated by geologists, because they're saying that actually, yeah, there was not they're saying there's sorry, I got distracted because my incense went out and I was like, oh my gosh, has it really been that long already? I guess it has been 30 minutes already. I was not surprised by the geologist coming out and saying that there were two different dikes, because if you look at this map and this map, that does not look like they are. This is Grindavik and Eldvorp. Let's look at Eldvorp. Looks like it is showing the January 14th one, and the Grindavik one is not. I think the Grindavik station, let's look. Yeah, that is the one we were looking at, and that is definitely under the magma dike that did not erupt on the 14th, whereas where's Eldvorp? Is Eldvorp EDLC? Oh, I do. Some of these web pages don't want to load very fast for me. Yeah, I guess ELDC is to the left. It's a very complicated geometry down there, and I've seen some people try to illustrate it, but I'm still not sure that I understand the full geometry of what's going on here, but I think that it makes sense that there would be two disconnected magma dikes underneath the town. I wonder if I can see the inflation map. Let me see if I can call that up in a different tab so that y'all don't have to see me. Let's see. Yes, that's the one I want. Let's take this into this tab. Okay. Now you guys can see this, right? Yes. Land uplift continues at Svartsengi. Under the Svartsengi. It's too early to assert that the rate of uplift shortly after volcanic eruption. One of the meters went under lava. That is interesting. Let's see. Oh, they've changed the hazard map to a purple zone. Okay, so we are escalating from, finally, they have updated the hazard map to reflect the reality of the situation. That actually, remember for a long time, they had the hazard map showing that this area was the only part that was in severe danger. Well, now they've finally updated the map to include Grindavik in the most severe region of threat, and also elevated the threat level along the sides of it. And really, where they're showing uplift is under this power plant, and under this is Mount Thorbjorn, and people are concerned because Mount Thorbjorn has seen a very big. Let me see if I can find the Do they have which one is the GPS site for Thorbjorn? Is it the one that says THOB? Let's find that down here. Oh, it won't let me search it because these are inside the images. Just go scan really quick. I promise I'm not underprepared. I'm just scanning really quickly. Thanks for hanging in there with me, all y'all who are here in the late hours. Oh, there's Thorbjorn. Okay. Okay, yeah, look at that. Let's take a look at it. This is only moved more since January. You can see before January, it was like, I don't even notice this. I'm a mountain. But it's moved significantly north and west. So that would indicate that it's being pushed from the southeast. And this is northwest of the magma intrusions. So I think the magma intrusion is just getting bigger. And look at it. I mean, look at that. I can't scroll zoom in. Well, but look at that. That's really looking unsettled and unsettling right here. I've heard a lot of concern about what's happening at Thorbjorn from the other geologists I follow. Let's see what they've updated the hazard map with. And I will get to the uplift map that is lower down in this. But you can see the extent of the lava flow from says 21 January. I think they mean December. And this says 15 January. Eruptive fissures without warning, hazardous gas, tephra, fractures, fault movement, eruptive fissures. Yeah, a lot of, and then these are in threat of gas pollution, I guess. Still say eruptions and earthquakes more likely in these zones. But Grindavik itself has gotten so many fissures running through it. You can see on this little map, all of these black hatched lines, those are surface fissures, actual surface ground that is split apart and broken. And that is because there are two different ways that this is. So you can see one of them goes straight into the harbor, and one of them, this southern fissure eruption from 2 days ago, was right on this fissure. That's where it erupted and unfortunately took those 3 houses. Fortunately, nobody was killed, but I did hear that one of those houses had almost just finished construction and the family was about to move in after years of working on it. So that is very disheartening for them. Gas pollution was measured during work on wells. Dangerous gas pollution is among the, I mean, I would assume that if they have any sort of natural gas lines, that all this fracturing is causing that to erupt, but also gas can find its way out faster than magma can. And so if there's any magma dikes under there just chilling, this is the map I wanted to show you that had the, this one shows in red colors where there's uplift and blue colors where there's subsidence, where there's downlift, some sinking, rising and sinking action. And then these red and orange lines indicate the boundaries of the 2 different magma dikes. So the orange one here is the magma dike that erupted on the 14th, even though overland it flowed over here. And this red uplift area, you can see that's actually the protection wall that they built around the town. And this is the second protection wall that they're still actively working on. Crews are still there working day and night to try to protect the town for however good that does. But this is the one that has not had any release since at least December. This is the one that had some release on a couple days ago in January. So, well, I guess grabens, in Icelandic, they call them sickles, but let's see if I had any of the uplift. Oh, thickness of the lava flow. That's a good one. Wanted to see. That's from the fissures. That you can see that the earthquake swarms move into town as the eruption go, like blue being oldest and red being most recent, that they're moving into town. And you see that's the Mount Thorbjorn that people are worried about. Let's see. Was there I thought there was a different there was a different map on here I wanted to see, but it's not really showing me that one. Let's go back to the uplift one, because that was pretty much what I wanted to show. Yeah. Map showing the location and width of the graben formed on November 10th, and the newest graben recently formed to the east. So these are magma intrusions just brimming underneath the surface, waiting. And where you see this like really deep falling, that's where it's open and wide up. And it won't let me zoom into this very far, but you can kind of see that. Won't even let me do that. Each house, if you could see smaller on here, each house has its own tilt, like the front yard going down or up and backyard going up. Like you can see almost every single house has a little dot of orange and blue on one side or the other. And that's kind of indicating which direction the house is now tilted in. So even if your house didn't burn down from lava, every single house is now unlevel. And on top of that, there are fissures throughout the entire town. Really just like not a place people want to move back to. So there's a lot of talk in Iceland about I'm gonna stop sharing now. A lot of talk in Iceland about the residents of Grindavik wanting the government to let them back in, not just let them back into town. They don't even want to be let back into town anymore. They want the government to buy out their houses. They want about $150 billion to just abandon the town. And they're saying that it's justified because this is such an important shipping village, important fish processing village. And a lot of people who live here also work in the tourism industry over the Blue Lagoon. And also locally, people come to the town for tourism. So there's a lot of industry there. And they feel like the Icelandic government owes them some compensation for being such a good town for so long. You know, I don't know what the answer is there, but it seems like it would set a precedent to pay off any victims of natural disasters so exorbitantly. But they also have natural disaster insurance in Iceland, just like they would have like flood insurance in places, here in the US, there are places where you must buy flood insurance for your house. And it's really expensive. I bet there is natural disaster insurance you must buy in Iceland. So it'll be really interesting to see how this all shakes out. It seems like the town is really banding together, though, it's so cool to see in the wake of natural disasters how humans find each other. Let's go to our vibe check for the night. Let's go to checking the vibe of the cards. Oh, my lap desk is falling apart. I need a new lap desk. am working on a channel trailer video for you guys. I expect to have that up sometime, maybe next week, hopefully. I hope. It's a very different workflow to record and edit. My Chromebook isn't as heavily powered as I would like a video editing computer to be, but let's take a look at this. My health and well-being are natural forever. You can appropriately depart your body without illness or pain. You need not attract illness or pain as an excuse to leave your body. You are free to choose otherwise. So, very interesting there. I'm getting a lot of cards about the choice and agency you have in your own health and well-being recently, which is quite striking to me, as there's been a lot of, it's cold and flu season. Everybody is getting a little bit of something. And I have been indoors for a lot of it. Talking to you guys every night. I'm staying in much more often, and my health has been spectacular. So I'm very, knock on wood, but I never want to victim blame, but I always do wonder what amount of agency people have in their own healthcare. Because we don't, here in the US at least, it doesn't feel like we have much agency in the healthcare system. Everyone is just looking at each other like, yeah, I know it's messed up, but none of us can fix it. Very interesting to see how this health agency in health narrative plays out this year. I've gotten some intuitive messages and also heard from other people who get more intuitive messages that there will be another health situation this year. So, just anything you learned in the past 3 years about how to take care of your body, how to take care of your soul and emotional well-being, and how your emotional well-being affects your physical health. Just try to keep your good practices up of, drinking green tea, herbal tea, earthing every day, and when in doubt, take a deep breath, remembering that worrying doesn't help. And if you want to help worry, identify the spot in your body where you feel the worry, and focus on moving the breath through that and out of your body. You can also literally just touching a stone wall, a brick wall, or going outside, having your body, the part of your body where you feel the anxiety pooling up, touching that to something that's in electrical contact with the earth can help you decharge some of that stress. So remember, and I mean, just walking every day, smiling, that helps a lot. I hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy and happy at this time of year. Looking forward to what happens in the next few days. Yeah, I guess that is all I've got for y'all tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. My one stream. It's probably my parents upstairs. Hi. I promise it'll work out eventually. Fingers crossed, but this is really going to take off when it's supposed to. So, all right. I love you guys. Thank you again for tuning in. Have a safe night. Don't be scared. Be prepared. Thanks for tuning in to Today's Weather Tonight.